Harold, this conference has been amazing. There are so many high-level people here from the energy industry, from regulators to politicians, from the cabinet. What are some of your big takeaways?
Well, I think everybody's learning a lot. I think, hopefully everybody can grasp the scale of really what we're talking about, and also, where are we at in the world, with AI. Obviously, I think coming out of this, the leader today in the world is the U.S. Can we maintain that position going forward? All depends on who's leading it, how are they doing it, and whether we can power the drive.
Well, that's what's so impressive about having this conversation. And some of the estimates for the energy needs are huge. Do you think the energy world can meet that based on your decades of experience in basically producing energy?
I do, yeah. I think we're in a very good spot in the U.S. First of all, the horizontal technology has served us well. We're in the era of abundance. We know that, particularly with gas. And so, do we have that 100-year supply? Yeah, we do. And can we mobilize it, as Doug Lawler said a little bit ago? Yes, we can. We have to be paid for it. You have to have economics work. They must work. But there's areas that really are very conducive, for this development. Mentioned Pecos County, Texas. West Texas, Delaware Basin, a lot of gas. You've got the right setting, a lot of land, all the things that you need, plus market. So, that's just one good example. There's a lot of others, that's been given here today. So, we can do it. We can mobilize the gas and in the future to take care of it. So,
what kind of numbers are you hearing?
Maybe as much as 8 to 10 BCF. I think the numbers are low. I think it'll be much bigger than that.
Bigger than that? Wow. I mean, that's a lot. You think the industry can handle it?
I think we can handle it, yeah.
Yeah? What do you think you'd need to be able to handle it?
Well, I think there's several things that you need on both sides of it. And, first of all, you need to have availability of permits for locations, stuff like that. So those are very important.
In terms of price signals, it's so interesting to talk about the strength of demand, but then you look at oil prices in the low 60s and you look at natural gas prices under 3, and that's a bit of a head scratcher. And it's like, are the prices incentivizing producers enough to meet this future demand?
Well, first of all, we're at a kind of a low point on the gas price. Just recently reached 3. Is in the shoulder months. So, it's too early for the heating season and just coming out of the winter. Anyway, I think that's probably a low point. I think we'll average this year around $4, and I think you need a price about $4 to actually mobilize the supply that we need.
Last time we spoke, we were talking about oil price volatility and how profitably drilling new wells at anything like below 70 is really tough. We're at 62. What do you think we do about this?
It is. It's well. First of all, we got to get by the situation on tariffs, and we'll get there. It's tariffs tend to be a real damper, particularly while negotiations are going on. So we've got to get that done very quickly and move forward. And the president's doing that. We need to note that, and he knows that. He knows he has to do. And his administration know that they need to move very specifically to make that happen. They're doing that, and we have to give them a little bit of leeway here. But that's happening. But they have a sense of urgency too in making that take place. So whether there's some missteps, who knows? But I think they'll get there. This is a new thing, so everybody has to learn a little bit.
It sounds like you have talked to President Trump, or at least Secretary Wright, about all of this.
Well, certainly talked to President, some of the cabinet members. Secretary Wright is here, and Interior Secretary Burgum was here last night. We discussed those matters somewhat. Obviously, one of the spokesperson that's outstanding right now is Secretary Bessent, and I think he's doing a good job. And so they're very tuned in to what has to be done, and some of these things take a long time. Dealing with countries. Certainly, the border countries had to be dealt with for a lot of different reasons. Tariff was just one of those. So then you work all the rest of them. There's a whole lot more that, just want reciprocal trade.
And you feel that your message of, we'll take a little bit of pain, but let's get to the focused negotiations and let's get to the end faster than slower, you feel like that message is clear?
Yes, and, it all comes back around to the fact that, if you slow down the economy, then that affects everything. It affects our business, because everybody's projecting what is the future demand for crude oil and for natural gas. And so we're here today kind of assessing some of that on gas. But certainly the outlook for oil will improve if we get, the economy moving strongly forward, as it did in the first few days of the president's tenure.
So to that point, if we remove this tariff overhang, my unfair question is, what would the oil price be?
I think, tariffs.
Like, what's the overhang?
Yeah, removing that overhang, I think, you should respond to mid-70s or something close to that. I mean, you get back to close to the cost of supply, because you have to get there. If you underinvest for a long period of time, we've seen that happen, and then coming out the other side, you've got $100 barrel of oil. And, that takes a while to dampen that economy.
Yes.
But it will. But anyway, it takes a relative price to mobilize oil or gas. And you can't do it for less than what it costs.
So the mid-70s feels like a fair price for that. Secretary Wright was talking to me about how maybe 65 is the ideal place for both. Do you think that we can come to the middle here? Do you think the industry will be able to mobilize around 70, 65, or it really needs to be higher?
I think, first of all, I think the cost of supply, is above mid-60s. And that's where we're at today, perhaps. But the outlook is dampened.
Yeah.
The future outlook is dampened. That's why price has fallen.
What is your biggest concern now? You seem optimistic that tariffs will work their way out. We have this great day where we're talking about the ability of energy to help mobilize AI. You have a president who seems favorable to the energy industry, but there's a lot of volatility and question marks. So what's the biggest thing on Harold's mind right now?
Well, let's talk about what's good.
Okay.
I'm a geologist, so a little bit optimistic, I know. But things are always going to get better. But it's really good now. We have an administration that embraces energy, embraces oil and gas. We're in an era of abundance. That's all good. And certainly we've got an administration that built a wonderful cabinet, and we see positive treatment for taxes in the future, extending the prior tax cuts. So I think that can happen, and that'll help the economy and outlook going forward as well. So I see a lot of positives. We just don't want to get bogged down negatively. Negative gets you nowhere. You have to think positive. It's like a golfer coming up on a green. It's got a body of water in front of it. If you start thinking, don't hit that water, what happens? You hit the water. So you have to think positive. In our business, you can't think, well, I'm going to have a dry hole. Or, we have to think positive. We're going to find more oil and gas. And so we do. So it's those positive things. Same thing with the economy, with government, with outlook, having a positive outlook. We're going to cure a lot of these situations that we've had in the past, like the length of time it took to get a permit. Mm-hmm. Doug Burgum talked last night about moving that permit time to back that down to where it
couple weeks.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
couple weeks. Like what happens in the state, what you can do in North Dakota, what you can do in Oklahoma, what you can do in Texas, instead of permitting that takes 6 to 8 months at the federal level.
And as
for no reason.
And as long as you have those positives, you're willing to sort of put aside the volatility or the negatives.
Yes, yeah, you can offset it. If you get rid of those negatives that plaguing business and plaguing our economy and overall plaguing consumer prices. If you can't find oil and gas, what happens? The price goes up.
You definitely seem really positive. Just from knowing you a long time.
I am positive. Yeah, it's good. So I tend to look big picture and think positive and at the good things that have happened. Not 100 days into this president's term, but we've seen so many good things. I think he'll go down as the president that made a difference, very significant president.